Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the Millionaire Network Marketer podcast. Happy to have you here and also super excited to introduce you to our guest, Todd Falcone. Welcome.
Hello, hello. How are you?
So I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been a very productive day, as is most days. So good to
Awesome.
be here with you.
That's what we're trying to tap into is your mindset of consistency and productivity. Can you tell us a little bit about you? Introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, I mean, business-wise, I've been an entrepreneur for 27 years. I have been in the network marketing profession that long. Actually, I got started in it right out of college. I was getting ready to try to find my career path and get a job when I got invited to what I thought was a job interview, and it was a business opportunity meeting actually for a network marketing company. And I was so naive that I didn't even realize I was in a business opportunity meeting. I was like, "Oh, this is a weird way to interview, but I guess I'll go with it." And I sat there and watched this presentation. I didn't have any ideas because I had never even heard of multi-level marketing or network marketing, and I just sat there and with a totally clean slate and watched it and went, "Wait a minute, this makes sense. We got this product that we can share with people, and we can make a retail profit, and you can build a team, and that team can be as big as you want it to be, and you can earn a percentage of everything that they're doing." And I thought, wow, leverage, that's pretty interesting. That seems to make a lot of sense to me. So I started that journey, and that was 27 years ago. I kind of the first couple of years, like 90 days into my first business, I quit my job thinking I'd be making 10 grand a month, and I wasn't making anything, and I ended up running out of money. I spent 2 years more or less failing. I mean, I had a lot of great education and learnings that went on, but financially speaking, the first couple of years, I pretty much made nothing. I had to move home and live in the bunk beds in my mom's house and regroup. And, I came back into network marketing with a different level of maturity and just kind of a different approach, built it part-time this time. And went on during my active career in the field as a distributor. I built 6 companies to multiple six-figure checks. About 14 years ago, I had a company I'd spent 11 years with that went out of business. And when they did, a friend of mine called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to come and speak at one of my events?" And I was like, "I guess. What do you want me to talk about?" He's like, "Dude, just come and talk about how you recruit." Because I'd done training calls and things like that for my group, but I'd never done it like as, for the industry at large. I was always for my organization. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll go do it. And I did. And then I got invited to speak at another one and then another one. And now it's been, I think, going into year 15 that I've been speaking full time. And, it's been pretty amazing. It's taken me all over the world. I've spoken now in 27 countries to network marketing companies, literally in every corner of the planet. And it's been a blessing. It's been fun to be, to be in this space for as long as I have and to be able to contribute to the people that have helped me out.
That's awesome. I love your story because I think it's relatable for a lot of people, especially within that 2-year window where, you kind of had an idea like how it was going to go. It might not have gone exactly that way. And, even to go to a humbling experience of like having to move back in with your family and stuff like that. Like, I think that's very relatable. And, there's some people that feel like, oh, that's just not for me. And it might be for them. It might be their passion, their career, what it turns into something else, which is teaching on stage or whatever opportunities there, but it's really approaching the runway at a different place. So I think that's a good place to start is when you came back in and was like, okay, I'm going to give it another shot and I'll do it part-time. I'll make something on the side. What were your steps that changed versus how you started out initially? Like what exact things did you say, like, I'm going to do this differently and I'm going to get a different result?
Yeah, I think when I started in the business, I was young, insecure. Uh, Everybody I was talking to for the most part was older than me. I was very intimidated by that because I was 22 when I started. And I also was like really, I don't want to say pushy necessarily, but I was more like coming from a desperation position because I didn't have any savings. I didn't have any runway. Like I had no financial runway to work with. I literally maxed out my college credit card on the very first purchase that I made, and I had no savings, no other cards, basically living in an apartment in Long Beach, California, and I just quickly ran out of money, and I became it. I was in this desperate position where I'm like having to go retail product on the weekends just so I can make enough money so I can buy top ramen, not even a decent meal, just to buy top ramen so I can put food in my stomach. And I managed to survive for 2 years with no money. I think that's with no money and no savings, the fact that I survived for that long, it's not that I didn't make anything happen, but I just didn't make enough happen. So when I came back into it, I really only moved to my mom's house because I needed to. I mean, I could have either like kept trying to figure it out. I could have gotten a job where I was living, but I moved home to help out the family business, which is a radio station. And I don't feel like I ever like quit network marketing. I left that company and I took a short hiatus, but knowing full well that I was doing network marketing again. This was just, I'm going here to financially regroup, but I'm doing network marketing again. So it wasn't like I had any kind of sourness or spoiledness. I'm like spoiled about it. I was just, okay, well, I'm doing this. And so literally within 3 months, I found another company. I was living at my mom's house, and I actually was having my check and my product shipped to a friend's house, because if she found out that I was building it under her roof, like, oh man, I wouldn't have a roof. So I ended up I was leaving the house with a roll of quarters and going to prospect at a payphone. And I mean, it was crazy those first couple of years. So not as bad as my friend who ended up being the master distributor of a company and ended up having to build it for the first 9 months from jail. I mean, I was in a different, that's not my story. That's somebody else's story. But literally he was a master distributor. He built from jail. I mean, if you talk about roadblocks or obstacles, I mean, I had a roadblock because I had to leave the house and sneak out of the house to go make phone calls. But I think for me, the other time is when you're coming from a position of desperation, it's got if you're desperate to you can feel desperation. I've had people call me over the years, and I can tell when they're desperate. You can just feel desperation. And when you're coming across that way, people don't really want to help you. I mean, it's weird. You get to that desperate state, but it's well, I'm not here. I'm not your savior. You're obviously things aren't working so well for you, and I can tell from the tone of your voice. And so when I came back the second time around, I just I built it part time. I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't listening before. I was listening. I was paying attention. I learned a lot. In fact, I'll tell you this: when I took the job at the family radio station, within less than a year, I was the #2 earning account executive in that marketplace. And I'm competing against somebody who's at the top-rated women 25 to 54 radio station, and she'd been there for 10 years selling advertising, the depth of her relationships in the market and all of that. And here I am, #5 or #6 women 25 to 54, lesser ratings, lesser I could sell a commercial for $35 that she could sell for $75 on her radio station. And within a very short period of time, I was the #2 earning account executive in that market without ratings. And I think a lot of it had to do with the kind of training that I had early on. I had amazing training those first 2 years, even though I didn't make a lot of money and I basically ran out of money and had to move home. The training that I got, the treating your business with ownership, with respect, showing up early, really understanding what hard work is, rolling up your sleeve and getting after it, focusing on revenue producing activities, being relationship driven. Those are all things that, while it didn't show for me in terms of fruits in my first 2 years of network marketing, it certainly did when I regrouped and built the family business, and on the side was building this network marketing business, which I got to my first $10,000 monthly check working out of a garage. So I'd moved out. I'm living in this 1-bedroom apartment, and then the other wasn't even another bedroom. It was a garage, a single car garage that had a carpet on it. I put a desk in there, and I got to my first $10,000 monthly check from a garage. Nobody would have ever known it, though.
That's awesome. I think that the training that you did receive in that first 2 years is probably what helped you stick with it and know that even in the times of scarcity, you weren't going to give up on the profession. So I guess from that, what was some of the major lessons? If somebody heard that and they're listening to this podcast, they would be like, well, I want to focus on the revenue producing activities. What is it that I have to do every day to make something happen, to get that $10,000 check that month? What is it that they have to do that you did and repeated to do the rest of your profession?
and still do today. The Well, I mean, and I think anybody who's been in network marketing for even a week knows what it is, and it's prospecting. That's the activity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in this business for more than like a week and not know what it is. You may be avoiding it, and many people do. A lot of people do avoid it. They'll do everything but prospect. They'll, do things that keep them busy, or they'll kid themselves to the point of lying to themselves about their activity. Like I'm in this business. Well, and I do an exercise. I just actually got done doing a webinar about an hour ago, and I did this exercise that I do on most stages. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about like your whether you're really in the game or not. Draw a box on a piece of paper if you're watching this, and if you're taking notes. And in the box, write in the number of new people that you talked to about your business in the last 24 hours. I mean, to me, that's like the telltale sign. If you're, are you in the business? Because if it's a 0, you're not in the business. If it's a 1, you're not even in the business. If it's a 2, oh my gosh, wow, in 24 hours you managed, holy smokes, to talk to 2 whole people. I feel so sorry for you. I'm so exhausted. You must be so tired, right? The reality is that this is a business of, exposure. We've got to pick up the phone and go, hey, look, I launched this business. I want to talk to you about what I'm doing. I've got this great product that we're bringing to the market. I'd love for you to be one of my customers. Can I get together with you? I mean, we have to go out there, just like with any other business, and drum up business. You have to have a sales arm or a sales methodology to what you're doing. Any business has that. Network marketing and direct selling is absolutely a sales business. So the activity is prospecting. Now you can, if that's the activity, and it's so funny because it's so fresh in my mind. I literally just got done doing this training webinar for this group, and the knowing that the activity is prospecting and recruiting. Well, doesn't it make sense to get good at it? I think it does. Like if that's what you're going to do, because like when I started, I was a stuttering, sweaty, nervous wreck, heart pounding, scared of my own shadow, like super timid. You don't see that today because I'm not the same person. It's like my friend Susan says all the time. People see the glory, they don't know the story. You don't know the story. You don't see me as this, person coming home from the office or in my network marketing career crying up in a ball and crying because it was happening for other people, but not for me, So eventually, if you commit to something, like my kid the other day, I have like 2 kids, 11 and 13. 11-year-old is pretty new on skis, and he's very, very timid on skis. He's had like a couple lessons in his whole life, and he was like, Dad, I'm so scared. He goes, I'm just not good at it. I'm like, buddy, you haven't done it. You can't be good at something that you don't do or that you don't practice. Like, I don't know if I want to do it. He goes, well, that's why we have lessons. The lessons teach you how to ski. I go, you saw your dad ski in that one time you rode that chair. Is your dad a good skier? He's like, oh, Dad, you're the best skier. You're awesome. I said, well, I've done it for 45 years. I took lessons for 9 years in a row. I've been exposed to that activity day in and day out for all of my life. So, it's the same thing with anything. Like you can't get good at that thing that you never do. You can't get good at that thing that you never practice. Unfortunately, as well, and this is a sad thing, I think, for network marketing, is that everybody says that they want to get good. They all say, I want to be, I would go to an event. How many of you want to be the best, most highly skilled, awesome, amazing network marketer? Everybody's like, yeah, that's me. And then I find out that none of them are practicing. Like the percentage is so nominal that it's not even a percentage. It's like something of a percentage, right? So, the way to creating success in this business is getting outside of your head, is working on your mindset. So your beliefs around network marketing are there. Your belief in the belief in yourself is something that, even if you've got like great self-esteem in other areas of your life, you may come here and get leveled because, there are things that I don't have a lot of confidence in. There's just things that I like going and working on my car's engine. I don't have any confidence whatsoever in doing that because I've never worked on a motor, right? So it's the same thing here. Like if you're going to get good at something, you have to commit to working on it. You have to commit to working on your skill of getting good at prospecting while you're prospecting. Just prospecting is not the answer. Yes, you have learning experiences. You have the opportunity of real life experience that will bring you things that you will have to then respond to and react to in the marketplace, which when you repeat those things over and over, you'll start to learn from those experiences and do them differently. But at the same time, you do need to set aside time to practice. Like as I'm a professional speaker now, so when I go speak for a group of people and I'm getting ready to deliver a presentation, I practice the presentation, even if I delivered something and it's my content. I wrote the content. It's my life. I can talk about this I can sit here on this video with you for hours today and not have any kind of script. But even in that case, before I get on stage, because I want to do the very best I possibly can every time I do it, I practice the presentation. I practice the timing every time I'm getting ready to get on the platform.
I agree with, like the practicing, even if they have nobody to talk to, like even if you're just saying it out loud, it's actually vocalizing it. It's allowing yourself to become good at it. You hear your own voice. You maybe pick up on things before vocalizing it to somebody else and how that may come across and everything. So I think on a speaking level, that's really an intelligent strategy. I'm kind of wondering, there was probably some people that heard this and they're like, okay, he said, I only talked to 2 people today and I'm building this in the pockets of my day. Like I just got out of an 8.5-hour job or a 12-hour job. How many people, does he expect me to talk to per day, or their team expect them to, like, what's the expectation if they're building it part-time? Like, what's a good number to aim at for the week that you're trying to prospect if you're trying to build this in the pockets of your day versus someone who's building full-time?
Oh, no, big difference. I mean, if you got more time, more available to you, you're going to be able to produce more. That's pretty simple. But, I think one thing people have to do is look at their time differently. You use the phrase pockets of your time. A lot of people don't even think of pockets of time. They just have my job and my, like to me, like a commute to work is a pocket of time where you could make a call or two, a break at work, a lunch break at work, picking the kids up from school and that commute over there, going to the grocery store. Most people have little pieces of downtime or pockets of time that could very easily be utilized to pick up a call. The calls don't have to be lengthy. I mean, and I think that anybody who is even part-time in network marketing, I think if you're not stretching yourself to do at least 5 reach outs a day, like I'm going to reach out to 5 people a day with intent to go talk to them about my product or my business. I could be driving, like it takes me 7 minutes to get my groceries. I was actually just there. I was at the post office, which is right next to my grocery store. It's like 7-minute drive. Well, I left my house. I was on the phone, like in my driveway, already making a phone call before I even left my neighborhood. So that's one, that could be one call. And it doesn't have to, even if the call is 7 minutes or the time that you have is 7 minutes, they'll understand and say, listen, Lisa, Todd Falcone giving you a call. I only have a few minutes. I'm getting ready to step into another meeting here, but I wanted to give you a call. I just launched a new business that I'm building part-time on the side and just what I'm doing with my job. And I'd love to show it to you. When would you have 15 minutes for us to get together? If I sent you an email, would you take a look at some information that I can get back to you? That call could happen like in a matter of a couple minutes. You probably make 2 calls in a 7-minute drive. So I don't think that it's a big stretch or for somebody to get upset, like, wow, 2, you're mad at me because I reached out to 2 people. I think that it's important that you never have a 0. I think any network marketer should never have a day, regardless of whether they're part-time, spare time, full-time, all the time, where they have a day of like no activity. I mean, you might be on vacation or something and I'm at the pool or the beach and I'm in total tune-out mode, and there's certainly a time and a place for total tune-out mode. I'm a big proponent of wherever you are, be there, because most people aren't very present. You go to some place, they're all staring at their phones when they should be visiting with one another. I think if you're in a meeting, you should be present with that meeting. And if you're working, you should be fully engaged in working and giving it your all. And then if you're playing, you should be fully engaged playing. It's like, I just with a buddy the other day, I'm like, dude, why are we even together? Because all you're doing is staring at your phone. We're supposed to be doing brotherly bonding time, and where we're supposed to be hanging out, like, what's up, how you doing? Not you staring at your phone. I go, if you keep staring at your phone, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And I've left many dinners because people have nothing better to do than stare at what's on their telephone rather than the people that they're actually connected with. So I don't know, minimum of 5. I got a phrase that goes along with that box exercise. The phrase, and I've said it for years, got a little ring to it. Double digits a day keep the commission checks on their way. So what's the first double digit? A 10, right? Does that mean you have to talk to 10 people a day to be successful? No, but it's something to strive for. What if you did? What if you just committed to, I'm not going to bed until I do 10 reach outs today. I'm going to reach out to 10 people. I set myself for a minimum, and I still log all my calls. I use these little tracking logs. And like my goal for me and I can get wrapped up in so much stuff. I, woke up this morning. I coached 200 people from Norway. I did an hour-long webinar after that. I did another training after that. I just recorded a blog post. I ran to the bank, and I had to do another errand. I've come back here, and even in all of that stuff, my goal for me is hey, I'm going to knock out at least 20 business building calls a day, and I do that to like people go, do you still do network marketing? I'm not in the field building a network marketing company. But all the people that I'm calling and everything that I do is network marketing. So I'm talking to company owners. I'm talking to top distributors. I'm talking to burgeoning distributors. So I'm still doing network marketing and really essentially doing what we do in network marketing, just on maybe even a bigger scale. So
it's awesome. I think there are some people that get stuck and they're at the point they're like, I don't know how to reach out to 10 people a day, or I don't know how to take the action steps that I need to. And I'm sure you've coached on stage about this several times throughout your career. What's your best, comment or advice to get them to step off the ledge?
Well, I mean, there's two parts of that. There's stepping off the ledge and then feeling like they don't have anybody to talk to. So I can answer that in two different ways. I mean, I think stepping off the ledge is you got to jump in the pool, man. I mean, if you're going to learn to swim, you can't be sticking the little toe in there, because you got to have the body in there. So you got to put yourself out there. Every network marketer at some point, if they're going to be a network marketer, has to put themselves out there one call at a time, one meeting at a time. And for people that are frozen, like, I understand fear very well, and I have it myself. My brand is the Fearless Networker, but I have fear. How does that make sense? Well, it's a matter of pushing the fear aside for a long enough period of time to get done what I need to get done. And eventually the fear to that activity will go away, because I was willing to face it head on, one call at a time, one meeting at a time, one presentation at a time. And eventually it'll go away. And I know that's not what people want to hear. They're like looking for something that's easier. Like, can't you just meditate it away? Can we just pray it away? Can we just burn some incense and it'll go away? Can we chant it away? None of that stuff works. The only way to put the fear to rest is to address it and to face it. And so, to get people off the ledge, it's like, okay, if you're totally paralyzed and you're not doing anything, make a call. Make one call. Like, just call your friend and say, hey, man, I just launched this business. I'm really excited about what I'm doing. I have no freaking idea what the hell I'm doing right now, but I'm excited about it. And it would be kind of fun if we could actually work together, even though I'm totally clueless. But dude, can you take a look at this video that I'm going to send you this video. Would you look at it for me? I mean, you can totally butcher it, but and then you get done and you go, whew, I'm still here. Oh my God, I didn't die. Holy smokes. They didn't beat me up. They actually went to look at my video. Then do another call. Then do another one. Then do another one. And you can link it together. And eventually what's going to happen, I promise you, is eventually that thing that you feared so much, the fear just is gone. It's like you've done it so much that you're not even scared of it anymore. And there's so many things in our lives that we can say that about. And it's so funny to me how many adults are, they get here in network marketing and they're afraid to pick up the phone. Dude, are you really afraid to pick up the phone? Like, you're 50. You're afraid to pick up the phone? What are you so scared of? I don't know. Yeah, you do. What is it? The other thing is clarifying what it is. What are you afraid of? Do you even know? Like, what's that? When you're sitting there like, I'm going to pick up the phone, and then you don't, well, what the hell is going on in your brain, which is causing you to not act? What is it? You need to be clear with what that fear is so you can address it.
Do you think most of the time it's rejection, or the fear of, someone on the other end rejecting them?
I do think to some extent, like, that's kind of the broad answer is being too utterly concerned about what being judged about what somebody else might think of them. A lot of it roots from, that somebody has a disbelief, or they're not fully convicted about the business model of network marketing. They're in a network marketing company, but they're afraid to admit it. Maybe they're new at it. They don't want to bring a bad deal to someone. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people feel that way. And I mean, I deal with it all the time. I survey my audiences. I have coaching clients one-on-one. I deal with group coaching all the time. I just started a group with 200 people. I'm starting another group with 100 people in 3 weeks. And, it's common. I mean, fear, and I think one of the greatest breakthroughs that you'll ever have is the moment you don't give a damn anymore what other people think about you. To me, that's like, and I don't know, the older, I've always kind of not, and I won't use the word, the word, there's one word that wants to come out, but it's not going to come out. But I've never I run around being me, and I have for a long time. I'm like, if you like it, cool. If you don't like me, fine. I don't really care. I mean, I run around. I don't shave for weeks on end. I'm running around in shorts, flip flops, and a tie dye T-shirt on. I'm scruffy. I mean, I don't play by all the rules. I'm maybe a little rough around the edges all the time. But when it comes to my network marketing business, I treat it seriously. I treat it with the respect that it deserves. And you just got to stop worrying about what other people think about you. And I think that's a big breakthrough. And you just let go and go, I don't really care anymore. And I think a lot of older people get to that point. They go, man, I got less life now than I have more life. You're like, well, maybe I'm not, who am I trying to pretend? I'm just going to be me. And then they finally go, oh, I feel so good just being me. And then it's weird. More people end up like falling in love with you and accepting you because you're being your authentic self. So being your authentic self is a beautiful thing, rather than trying to be somebody that you're not.
Yeah, and I think you'll magnetize more people that resonate with your message when you're actually just being you. And, in a way, you kind of want to repel the people that don't resonate with your message.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So the new year just hit and people are gung-ho again about their goals. Say if we have the opposite spectrum listening on this and we have somebody that's really crushing their business and they're like, okay, this year is the year that I'm going to 10x my business. What would you give them for advice? So they're not the ones who are stuck. They're not the ones who are not prospecting. They're not the ones who are not calling. They're already like pulling it, but they want to go 10x. Maybe they want to retire early this year. Maybe they want to just have this be their sole gig. Like, how do we get them to their next step?
Yeah, I think a couple things. Number one is something's got to give. I mean, if that's the case, if you really want to massively accelerate it, you got to move some stuff out of the way. So you got to really look at where your time is going, and is it really that important for you to play golf 3 days a week for 18 hours a week? Could you let that go? I mean, I know maybe you can right now, but if you really wanted to increase it, so it's a matter of output. I mean, the more output, the more effort you put into something. If it's the right kind of activities, you're going to get a bigger result. So if I wanted to sell more, if I wanted to produce more, I'm going to spend more time selling and producing whatever that is. So if right now I'm only really focused maybe a couple hours a week or 5 hours a week on hardcore prospecting and recruiting, well, what would happen if I spent the next 90 days, 8 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week prospecting? What would I be able to do? I think you could 10x it just in terms of your own personal productivity. And then the second part of that is becoming insanely tuned in with the people that are on your team that are showing life in them. So you got to be looking at the genealogy report and finding out who's doing, who's active, who's building. Oh my gosh, who's this person I don't even know yet that I haven't met that's on my 17th level that put in 30 people last month? Maybe I should pick up the phone and call that person and see how I can assist them. Hey, John, Todd Falcone, listen, I want to introduce myself to you. I see that you had a really amazing month last month. I'm part of the leadership team here with Company X. We haven't had a chance to meet yet. Just wanted to make sure you have my phone number. If there's any way I can serve you, work with you, help you, and you put those people up on a whiteboard. So like if you're sitting here at the desk where I am, I can look up at my whiteboard behind me and go, okay, I need to give Lisa a call. I got to see what she's up to, see if I can help her out this week. And instead of waiting for your business to grow, you make it grow by facilitating certain actions and activities within the organization. And that involves you being tuned into the people that are on your team.
Yeah, I think that's an important point is, really looking at the back office and seeing who's performing, even if you didn't personally enroll them. Maybe it's on the other side of your leg and, you didn't even, they're not even on your radar yet, but you're going in and looking at the reports and seeing how you can help them in a way and building that relationship with them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's these are undeveloped assets on your team. And I think a lot of people who are newer to network marketing, they don't know this. They don't know that, hey, I'm not going to sit around and wait for something to happen. I'm going to call John up. I'm going to call Susie up. I'm going to call some of these people and see if I can encourage them, see if I can do meetings with them, go out with them, work with them, help them. I mean, that's you don't know what their experience, you don't know who they are necessarily if they're way down in depth, but they're producing. I want to know. So I'm always looking who's doing, who's active, who's building, who's rank advancing, who are some of these people that I can connect with and engage in conversation with, get to know, because they're they are assets on my team. Like somebody who's just sitting there on auto ship, I can't have the time to call everybody in the organization. But if I see somebody who's in there who's put 9 people in the business last month, I'm like, and I don't know the guy, I'm going to call him up and make sure at least I'm familiar with him. See, who knows? I mean, this is a person. In fact, first time I did it was with a friend of mine, Joe, who I'm still good friends with to this day. And I called him up, and he had personally sponsored 35 people the previous month. And I was going through his genealogy report. He was on my 6th level in a 7-level pay plan. And I picked up the phone. I called him. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called me. I've never heard from my sponsor."
Wow.
I mean, and he never heard from his sponsor. So can you imagine, like, this guy signs up, sponsors 35 people on his own. That's how self-starter he was. But he had never heard from his sponsor. And if I had not called him, who knows? He might have gone, "What the heck's wrong with this company?" It's like, I mean, it's nice. If I can do this here, I'm going to go do it someplace else. But, we ended up creating a connection, became friends, still friends to this day. And I mean, he's really actually good life coach. He does a lot of life coaching now. That's kind of his forte. But, I made that phone call and we ended up doing a lot of business together as a result of it.
That's awesome. You can build, great relationships through it. And it's someone, you weren't on his radar. He probably didn't know 6 levels up, like who to even contact, because he wasn't even hearing from his own sponsor. Yeah. So, you've had consistent leads over longer than 20 years. And if someone was listening to you, they're probably like, he's probably run out of warm contacts already. So you found ways to produce leads consistently that people are coming to you and asking, but also that you have time to reach out to 2 people on the way to the post office. So what are some of the ways that you create leads consistently still?
Yeah, I think that pretty much every network marketer at some point is going to be faced with like running out, like your initial warm market, you've kind of run out of it. But if you are smart and you put yourself into position, and what I mean by position is putting yourself into where there are opportunities to meet people. Like even yesterday, I worked remotely for about 3 hours. I went to a local coffee shop and just parked it and worked for 3 hours. If I was sitting here, I can't meet anybody here. There's not even an opportunity to meet anybody. So did I meet anybody that I really had conversation with yesterday? No, I didn't. But there have been times, actually last week I did, when I was at the same place. I met somebody who was really cool, just happened to be sitting next to me, engage that individual in conversation. And so I think if you're social and you get yourself out in the marketplace and you get involved in different, activities and community stuff, things that you can do in your local market, meetups, volunteering, school, church, whatever it is, that's going to create opportunities for you to build new warm markets. I think we should, the warm market is an organic thing. Like I moved to Bend, Oregon in June, and I don't know a ton of people here, but I've met, I've created a market from scratch. Like I don't know how many people I know. Like I could probably go through, I probably maybe know 50 or 60 people here now, maybe a little bit more, just by kind of being here and getting out in the marketplace and doing stuff. So I think if you don't just sit in your house in a closet all the time, it's going to create an opportunity. Facebook is an unlimited opportunity for you to meet new people that have mutual or like interests. I think one of the most powerful things is, getting in and, finding like what's your passion. Everybody's got a different passion. Like I love skiing, I love fishing, I love hiking, I love mountain biking, I love the outdoors. And so if I wanted to connect with people like that or that have those interests, I could very easily go right now, open up my laptop and go onto Facebook and find a Facebook group of hardcore mountain bikers or skiers or Bend cyclists or, whatever. And I could start engaging and interacting and making new friends that way. And it would be easy for me to be in a group like that and be able to contribute value or to the conversation or add to the conversation because I have an actual interest in it. Like I would never join a bowling Facebook group. Like I don't have any interest personally in bowling. If you bowl, don't take offense. It's not my thing. I've done it. I bowled I don't know what I bowled one time. I think I bowled, I don't remember. It was like some number on my system was like, you bowled that much? I think I bowled like a 260 one time. And she's like, you did not bowl. I bowled a 260. I go, is that good? She's like, even with my handicap, I never bowl a 260. I go, every guy's got to get lucky every now and then. I mean, I was rolling the ball at about 7 miles an hour with my kid, and I just couldn't miss that day. I can't never recreate it, but anyhow, so yeah, yeah,
I think that's a good point because you could ask yourself what you're passionate about, what you could talk about every day. Is it your football team? Is it your, equestrian stuff? What is it that you're passionate about? Do you stitch? Do you sew? Do you do makeup? Like, what is it? And then, find these areas, even on LinkedIn, where it's more professionally established. And Facebook is an option. There's these places that you can find groups and clunks of people who are passionate about the same thing as you, and then it's just engaging with them. And
yeah. Meetup.com is cool too. I mean, because you can find a meetup depending on the size of your population. You can find a meetup that's on everything you can imagine. You can find a book lovers meetup. You could find a yoga lovers meetup, a dog walkers meetup, pretty much for any. It doesn't have to be. If I actually choose personally, I think it's better to find something that's your passion, but doesn't have to do with business. Because if you go to an entrepreneur meetup group, for example, not that I would avoid those, but a lot of times it's just a bunch of people trying to get a bunch of people. So if you put yourself into a position of like being around a bunch of vegan eaters or, whatever the thing is, that's, you all have the same interest, but not everybody's necessarily in a business and try to pitch each other another business.
I think that it depends on where you're at. Like, I'm in Silicon Valley right now, so there's a lot of meetups that are entrepreneurial minded, and it's just techie people that are sitting at desks and they need what I have. I'm in the health and wellness space, so they get a fat tire building all these amazing programs that we need, and even like Facebook is down here. And so sometimes you can gain business through that. One of my biggest transformations was through one of those entrepreneurial minded groups, and it was about how to present better. And I just got randomly selected, and I ended up presenting and then getting a few leads through that. So I guess that's another point on the meetups, is not just what you're passionate about, but maybe also to develop the skills that you feel you're lacking, the ones that are preventing you from doing the phone calls, like you said, to really ask yourself, like, what is it that you're scared of on the other side? If it is presenting, like, go to some of these meetups and practice it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, put yourself in front of your fear for sure. Join a speakers association, create opportunities for you to, it's kind of like, I've heard people say, well, if, don't worry about your weaknesses, just build on your strengths. And yeah, I want to build on my strengths, but if I'm a tennis player, I used to play tennis competitively. So I think about, well, if I'm playing my opponent and my opponent's got a really good forehand, but I very quickly pick up that my opponent has a really weak backhand, then what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to be serving it to his weak side as much as possible, because I know he's going to make a mistake there, and I'm going to beat him. So I think it's really important that if you know what your weakness is, that you go, okay, well, I'm going to work on this thing that I'm weak at and get stronger at it. That may not always be my strength. I may have my main strength, but then this is not a weakness. This is another strength, maybe just a little bit less strong than my primary strength.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So over the years, you have taught on many stages. What is the most you talk about? What is the best topic that you get hired for?
I mean, success in network marketing, how to succeed in network marketing is what I get hired for more than anything else. I do think that when people are hiring me, they also kind of know what they're getting. Very few of my clients are like, they don't know who. I mean, if you're hiring me to speak for your national conference, you've already done the research. So they know that they're going to get somebody who tells them the truth, who's very, very blunt, who's not going to beat around the bush, and is going to deliver a message about, look, here's the honest to goodness truth about what it takes to succeed in this business. Like it or not, this is what it is. And so I think people appreciate the fact that I don't, fluff things. I think if people were to think about Todd and like what's his specialty, I think a lot of people would probably go to prospecting and recruiting. I'm definitely known for being the, prospecting and recruiting guy, but I do a lot of teaching on leadership and team building and, mindset and all that other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. I think the inner game is as important as the outer one. It kind of translates into you being able to act. So, if you gave people your best three tips on really what skill sets need to be mastered, we've already covered prospecting. What are the other two?
I think this is under the umbrella of prospecting, but it's just like relationship building, like really building relationships, not being in such a rush where you don't really have a relationship. Like I think if we slow down a little bit, especially with how busy everyone is in today's world, and we slow down to really show people how much we care and that we do generally, I mean, I'm concerned. I have like a care and a concern for someone, and I want to know how you're doing. Like I called a friend the other day, brother, and I was like, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm good, man. How you?" And I'm like, "No, man, how are you? Like, how are you doing? How's the family? Like, what's up? Let's catch up." He's like, "Well, since you asked," he goes, "I'm actually separating from my wife." And I was just like, whoa, like I would have never found that had I been like most people kind of are, like in a rush and most people are so, they're always thinking about themselves. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of the selfishness of just, I'm more concerned about me. And I have to actually slow down and go, okay, let me slow down enough to, you know, be that person that's really authentically interested in you and create a real connection. So I think to me, that's, even though that's kind of within the whole idea of prospecting, you certainly want to work on your prospecting skills, your follow-up routine, your skill of inviting, addressing and overcoming objections, leading to a close, if you will. That relationship build is to me is a just huge importance. Being somebody that realizes like what's your passion, and knowing, feeding somebody's passion and really knowing what lights a person up. I think that's important. Like, do you really know, like if you look at your top 20 clients, do you know what their passion is? Like what's the number one passion of your top 20 clients?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what my top 20 clients, like, wouldn't that be good for you to know? Oh yeah, now that you say that, probably. So I think that's one thing. I do think working on your communication skills, and this kind of all interconnected. I think working on your communication or your speaking skills, even if you're like, hell no, I'm never getting on the stage. No way, man. You'll never see me up there. Yeah, I will. You certainly will be, because that's part of what we do. Even you may not be the person that's doing the main presentation all the time, but if you have any success in network marketing, somebody's going to ask you to share your story. And we're talking and we're presenting all the time. Like even right now, like you and I talking to one another on camera is a form of presenting, essentially, because people are going to be watching us. So I think working on your presentation skills, leadership, and I think understanding how to be a better team builder and helping to and understand how to be a better leader, I certainly think is a focal point. Those are two interconnected subjects, but also can be separate. People sometimes say I'm not a really good leader. Well, if you got one person, you got the responsibility of leading. So it's time to step up and start doing it now, right? So not leading people as a whole, but understanding that everybody's a little bit different. Not everybody wants to make $100,000 a month. Some people just want to hang out and not even really make any money, but just be part of the social club. Some people want to make $100 a month or 500 or 1,000. And so if we treat everybody the same, it's going to be a mistake. It's like going to the gym. I mean, you have a background in, working out, obviously. And so if you go to the gym and Bo, the trainer, is always on your ass every day going, hey, how come you're not pumping bigger weights? You're not like me. You want to be big and huge. And every time I go in there, I just want to feel good and be flexible and lean and feel good about myself. I don't want to look like Bo. I never want to look like that dude. That guy's like looks like a freaking balloon. And if every time I go in there, he's like, dude, you need to take some more of the stuff. Eventually, I'm not going to. Sorry. Eventually, I'm not going to even want to go to the gym anymore because he's made me so uncomfortable. So you got to be careful that when you're building your team, that you don't like push people too hard. Not that you don't want to push people and encourage people to do more, but don't make it uncomfortable for them. So I think team building and leadership skills are super important as well.
I think that's a good point, because, and what is important to different people, is different for each person, like, there's some people that really, really, really are after this for the recognition. There's some people that are really, really, really after it for the money because they want to stay at home or do something, travel, I don't know, pay off debt. There's some people that are really doing it for so many different reasons, but it is good to find out why, because then you can keep them stimulated and engaged, in the game.
Yeah, one thing you said about that, you got to understand, like, not everybody does network marketing for the money. So, in fact, there's a lot of people that they're not doing it. They're like, they want to make money, but money is not the primary reason that they do it. They do it for other reasons. So make sure you don't avoid talking to people because you think that they wouldn't do it because they're so successful. People will do it for different reasons. I had a friend of mine worth like $60 million who I made the mistake of not calling, and he calls me up one day and he's like, "Hey, do you know Everett such and such?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know him." He's like, "Yeah, he's on your seventh level or sixth level. I'm on your seventh." I'm like, "Oh, great." He goes, "Why didn't you tell me about this?" I play golf with the guy like every day. Like that week I played golf with him. And I didn't tell him because I thought, what the hell? He's not going to want to do this. We're so much money. He'd never do this. So I've made those mistakes and I've had to learn from them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because if you see somebody so successful, you're like, what do they need this for? I think even people refrain from approaching like doctors or, different clinical staff that have gone to school for 13 years to do what they do and stuff like that. But I interviewed a millionaire yesterday, and she said, she just got out of a meeting with a physician and he was living paycheck to paycheck, and she was able to paint a vision. Like, what if you weren't in this position to live paycheck to paycheck? And the assumption is he's well off, he's.
Back in the day, that was the way. I mean, you could have a normal, pediatrician or family doctor that was doing well. And the money that now is like I got a friend of mine that's a facial surgeon, and he makes a ton of money because, that's just a elective in many cases, not always elective, but the regular doctors are suffering. A lot of people in the medical practice. So we assume it's like, even like pilots, like, used to be really cool to be a pilot. I got relatives and friends that are pilots. They're like, nah, it's not so cool to be a pilot anymore. It's not what it was, 20 years ago when you were walking through the airport and everybody's looking at you. Hey, there's the pilot. Hey, check out the pilot. It's like, in fact, one of my relatives, my wife's nephew, had changed airlines, and I had years and years and years and years of being a pilot, and he changed airlines, and they literally, you don't go from here to here, you go from here to the bottom, and then you have to work your way back up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, I'm like back to commuter. Like, I'm not, there's no more 747, like, I'm literally like, I just got back. It's so ridiculous how that works. They should be, but
Yeah, I was hearing the other day that they were overselling flights, and they're like, over the holidays, they were making vacations not, they were like retracting vacations from these people who had requested a long time ago. That's on flight staff. And I was like, oh no, like, that's not good.
Yeah, I travel a lot, so I see that all the time.
Yeah. Well, they need our help. They need to find network marketing.
Absolutely.
I've enjoyed today with you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
If people wanted to reach out and find more about you, what's the best way for you?
Best way is head over to toddfalcone.com, which is TODDFALCONE.com. They can plug in there. It says new to Todd right at the top of the page. They can plug into my newsletter. If you want to grab my newest book, Fearless Networking, you can get it for free just by shipping and handling, and that's right there on the front of the book, or front of the site as well. And that's how to get plugged into me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. I know I enjoyed having Todd Falcone on and appreciate his experience for sure. Be sure to download the Attract Prospects to You ebook that I have created for you. It teaches you how to magnetize the ideal clients, prospects, and business partners to you. So you can either go to themillionairenetworkmarketer.com, or if you're on YouTube, I'll leave a link below and you can download it from there. All right, I'll see you next time.